Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Is Goal MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo, and actually just coming in right now, Michael Bullock. So tonight, this is a three-man show, and we got a lot to talk about. So Bullock, hang tight. Obviously, me and Anthony are going to try to go very quickly with the TNA recap, and then after that, we'll bring you in for Smackdown Live. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. A newsworthy show tonight from the O2 Arena in London, England. It was earlier today. If you had Netflix in the international markets, you got to see this live as it was happening. It started around 3 p.m. Eastern Time. 8 o'clock in London. There's a 5-hour gap between us and them. But then they did re-air this on the USA Network in the United States. And like we said, there's a lot to talk about, including including a major reveal, guys, that we now can confirm a main event for night one of WrestleMania. The night one main event has been revealed. We will talk about it tonight on this show. So, and if we do have time, we might, depending how the games go, there might be some bonus commentary. We might be able to get into more of the NCAA tournament. Oh, by the way, if you weren't with us last night's show, we did cover Duke and Arizona. We did talk about a game going into overtime. My God, what a game that was. We'll definitely get into it at some point tonight on the show. Like we said, we got a lot to cover. So, with that said, we will start off with TNA Wrestling. We're going to go very quick. And then, like I said, we got a lot to talk about with SmackDown Live. And then, obviously, we will continue on our way. Possibly, like I said, we'll recap the overtime game from last night. And then what has happened earlier today with the other half of the Sweet 16, and then give you an official preview of the Elite 8 that starts tomorrow with 2 monster games tomorrow night, as we'll finally be handing out tickets to the Final Four and to the trip, and teams to take their trip to San Antonio for the Final Four that comes up the week after. So, we started off with the new TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Heather and Ash by Elegance. They went up against NXT's own Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 4 minutes and 47 seconds was Ash and Heather by Elegance. It was an all right fight. I'm not going to say it was anything special. I wish the match would have been a little more longer, but it roughly got about 5 minutes. There wasn't really anything special. Yes, you got to make the champions look strong here. They just won the titles. Yes, it was a non-title bout, but this was a fine matchup. I could give this maybe 1.25, 1.5. Like I said, there wasn't really much action here. It was very quick, predictable, but trust me, if Heather and Ash would have lost this fight, this really would have hurt them more. So Gigi and Tatum, they definitely don't get hurt by taking this loss. Obviously, this is kind of one of those type of fights that when you get NXT versus TNA, sometimes it depends where you are, what episode you're on. If this was an NXT, maybe they go over. We don't know. But it was still, like I said, very short, very sweet, straight to the point. Paint by numbers, if you want to call that. That's something I would normally say. Anthony Floyo, come on in. It's all yours. Heather and Ash by Elegance wins it in 4:47.
This didn't have much time to go anywhere, and it didn't exactly make Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan feel like the biggest team. Ash and Heather by Elegance did need the win, though, as they are not the most established team in the world. The Meta Girls might be the ones to get the titles from them, as some titles have to cross over to another promotion at some point. I'll give this about 2.25, 2.5 for the effort. So not much more to say. MF set me up for the next match.
All right, here we go. All right, I thought it froze on me for a second there. All right. So with that said, the next up we had 3 members. Well, nope, I'm sorry, 2 members of the system. It was AJ Francis and Casey Navarro, and they had
First
Frankie
class.
Kazarian
First class.
in. Oh, first class. My apologies.
Not the system.
First class, and they had Frankie Kazarian, and they went up against Octagon Junior, the Laredo Junior. Yes, he's back. And when it was all said and done, winners of the bout in 11 minutes and 35 seconds, it was Chavo Guerrero, the Laredo Kid, and Octagon Jr. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
3.25, 3.5 stars. Chavo looked a good bit better than I was expecting here. And he more than held his own, rather than just being there as the hometown star. The Aztec Warriors are the latest lucha tag team, and that is not a bad way for them to be used. I'm not sure what kind of a future it has, but this was a good showing from everyone. That being said, Frankie Kazarian being in there was kind of a weird call, as he should be near the world title sooner than later. But nonetheless, a very good match here. 3.25, 3.5 stars, and Chavo still got it, man. He still got it. So I thought he looked really, really impressive for me. So he played the old hits. We got the 3 Amigos for Uncle Eddie, of course, and the Frog Splash. And I know Uncle Eddie and Chavo Classic, his father, I know they're both smiling down from heaven above. Very proud of Chavito. He looked really good. So 3.25, 3.5 stars. Certainly, you could certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors. It's definitely worthy of it. So, not much more to say on that. MF, Chavo Guerrero, he's in his 50s and he's still taking bumps like that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a lot of these older wrestlers. You know, Taker was pretty old and still was taking bumps. Sting was mid 50s, almost in his 60s. Taking bumps. So, and you almost wonder, man, how do they do it? Did they find the fountain of youth? How do they still do it after all these years and everything else? And with Chavo stepped away from the ring, obviously with the TV show Young Rock that used to be on NBC. He was actually one of the lead stunt coordinator. So all of the wrestling that was incorporated on that show was actually done by Chavo Guerrero. So he had a major foot in that. A lot of people were very happy in it. And Chavito still does it, man. He kills it. So yeah, very impressed. 3.25 stars is my rating for the match. I think they did a really good job with it. And there's really nothing more to add. So next up we had was the TNA Knockouts champion Masha Slamovich versus JC Jane. Non-title match, by the way. And Masha Slamovich wins in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Another good match. Another solid fight. A 3-star bout. Masha looked good. And give credit where credit's due. JC held her own. You know, Masha is a powerhouse. She could have, on paper, she could have wiped the floor with JC Jane, but she hung tough. She had a couple of moments. It was fine what it was worth. And then after the match, Tessa Blanchard did come in to try to jump on Masha. But Zaya Brookside and Lee ran out to chase her out of there, to chase Tessa out of there. So maybe do we got a thing here where yes, Tessa definitely is the top contender, but there are some girls here that is gonna make sure that Tessa, that if she does win the title, immediately there's at least 2 women, maybe 3, that we could see have long-term storybook writing that maybe Tessa might have to deal with in her run. Xia Brookside and Li Ying Li, they might actually make a contendership, and then obviously Masha as former champion if she ever does lose the belt to Tessa. So right then and there, we're looking at 3 possible challengers for Tessa if she does become the TNA Knockout Women's Champion. You never know. I'm just kind of forecasting it, like Anthony Floyo does. You know, we don't have a crystal ball here, but we kind of have a feeling, or we think this might be the direction that they go. Now, if TNA does go that direction, then obviously we got it. We look like geniuses. If they decide to go a different route, well, then unfortunately the egg's on our face. But we're confident enough that we believe that Tessa's going to be the next champion. But obviously we got to wait to see how it plays out. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, 3 stars. It's yours.
Yeah, 3 stars here. 3 teetering on 3.25. JC Jane was trying here, and those kicks got her further along than I was expecting. Masha Slamovich certainly did not squash her, but there wasn't much doubt about this one. Tessa Blanchard is waiting for Slamovich, and that is going to be a hell of a showdown for the title when we get there. I still think it'll be the Rebellion pay-per-view next month, so you want to give it the biggest possible stage you can, and I think LA at that USC arena on April 27th is the perfect stage to do it. So a solid 3 stars. So with that being said, MF set me up for the next match.
All right, it was Eric Young going one-on-one with Ace Austin. Eric Young wins the match in 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Anthony, it is yours.
2.5, 2 3/4. Nice enough match here with Ace Austin getting in some offense before the numbers game got the best of him. Ace Austin is going to need some help if the feud continues, and the Rascals would seem to be a good choice for the spot. Eric Young winning again is not a surprise, but hopefully he does not go much further up the card. He does not need it, but you know, it is what it is. So 2.5, 2 3/4. That's the best I can go. So MF, your thoughts?
Fine for what it was worth. I didn't think it was anything amazing. It was a 2.5 star bout, so we do go into the main event for TNA, as it was Nick Nemeth going one-on-one with Leon Slater. Nick Nemeth wins the match in 11 minutes and 33 seconds. Fine main event match. Another 3-star bout. This was good for what it was called, for what it was worth. And at the end, Nick gets the danger zone. Well, hits him with a super kick that led into the danger zone to get the 1, 2, 3. And then basically they try to do a beatdown attack. Ryan and Nick try to do it. And then the Hardys showed up. And well, yeah, we're going to get it. And it's going to be at Rebellion for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. It possibly could be, it's not official yet, but it was proposed. Matt called for this. The Hardys versus the Nemesis at Rebellion for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Anthony Floyo. Oh, it is official. All right, cool. I
Yes,
didn't know if they
TNA
were going to do it
confirmed
or
it.
not. All right.
TNA confirmed it late last night. So
All right.
it is. Yep.
It is yours.
In the immortal words of Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, it is official. So it will be the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy versus Nick and Ryan Nemeth at Rebellion for the TNA World Tag Team Championship. Two brother tag teams going at it. We'll see how that all plays out. As for this match, another 3.25 to 3.5 star match. MF, you already know how high I am on Leon Slater, and
yes,
and I am once again here. Another solid performance from Leon Slater here, as he is getting more and more established in the main event scene. The only constructive criticism I have is he's not all the way ready for that kind of a spot yet. But he's also managing to hang in there against bigger and more experienced opponents. Losing to Nick Nemeth is not a big shot against Slater, and they had a good match on the way there. So that's another 3.25 to 3.5 star match. So I'll open up with the overall review.
Hold on, Florio. Just hold on.
I gotta go 7.5.
Hold on.
There's something else that needs to be addressed.
What we're gonna do for next week?
Yes, well, what's on the pipeline?
Yeah, that's
what's on the pipeline for next week.
All right, so we're gonna have is a 6-woman tag team fight, as it will be Tessa Blanchard, JC Jane, and a mystery partner. They're gonna be going up against Masha Slamovich, Li Ying Lee, and Zaya Brookside. We're also gonna get Frankie Kazarian versus Elijah. We're gonna get to hear from the Hardy Boys. They're gonna be talking to the wonderful fans. Steve Macklin will be in action, and a groundbreaking announcement by Santino Marella. Well, I wonder what that's gonna be. Groundbreaking announcement.
I think it might have something to do with Mance Warner and Sami Callihan, because they had a very explosive sit-down interview, and I mean explosive.
Well, we'll find out. So, Anthony, now you can hit us with the overall review.
Okay. 7.5 out of 10 is my rating for this. It kept me invested for the most part, and you can see things coming together for that Unbreakable. They have an event called they have a TNA Plus special called Unbreakable that will go down on Thursday night, April 17th, as part of WrestleMania week, and that will be in Las Vegas. And you can see things coming together for Unbreakable and probably Rebellion as well. So at least the things are going in the right direction. Other than that, we had some nice enough matches with Leon Slater again doing well for himself in a big spot. 7.5 out of 10. Very much looking forward to next week's show, especially that groundbreaking announcement from Santino. I think it might have something to do with Mance Warner and Sami Callihan. I could be wrong, or maybe something else. I don't know, but whatever it is, you say groundbreaking announcement. Better be good, big boy. Better be good. So, not much more to say on that. 7.5 out of 10 from me. MF, let's get your quick thought, and then we'll get into that newsworthy Smackdown from the O2 in London.
Yeah, so it was definitely it was a 7.5 out of 10. Well done. Very good show. Really nothing more to say. Now we go into the Smackdown Live from the O2 Arena in London, England. And yeah, it started out with a promo segment by Cody Rhodes, interrupted by Randy Orton, but then it gets interrupted again, and I believe Drew McIntyre interrupts. So then we get a little exchange there. I mean, this was very interesting because now there's a lot of faces here. So first you got Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he's there for the John Cena thing. So we're going to get another round of Cena and Cody Monday night on Raw at the O2. But then you get Randy Orton. And we all know Randy Orton and Kevin Owens might be and then you got Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre is going at Damian Priest at WrestleMania. Are they planting the seeds of possibly that if Cody does go over and beat John Cena, are they preparing us for maybe the next two challengers for the undisputed WWE Championship? So this is really interesting because I did not think about this until now. Because I was thinking the whole time, Cena's going to get the 17, Cena's going to win it all, and then maybe we do something down the line where you know, Cena and maybe Punk's the one that takes the belt from Cena. Now all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute. What if it's not John Cena? What if it's Randy Orton? What if Orton turns on Cody, starts a rivalry with him, and then Orton is the one to take the belt? What if we get Orton versus Cena? Cena turns back to the good. Orton becomes the sadistic viper that I've been waiting for. What if everything turns on its head? You never know. So I don't know where this is going to go. But after seeing this promo tonight, now all of a sudden my thought of Cena winning the title at WrestleMania, I might have to start backtracking it. Because seeing Orton and McIntyre, maybe this is their way of saying, well, hold on. The John Cena's 17th run is not a slam dunk now. It does open the door for maybe somebody else to get the shot. Now, I know there's a couple people that I know who's like, the Cody run has run its course. It's time that Cody drops the belt. Cody would be more sympathetic and more better as chasing the title instead of holding the title. And the one thing I was saying, and if you notice, before the Cena heel turn, was that the fans were starting to turn on Cody Rhodes. There was some boobers. There was some people, yes, Cody was the biggest star, but there was some fans that were starting to kind of give Cody some boobers. It's almost like the Bianca Belair situation that's going on right now. So, but because of the way Cena did what he did, Cody's now overwhelmingly the crowd favorite. But again, what happens? I don't know. So this is very interesting. Anthony Flayo, you can come on in now. Like I said, at first I was thinking Cena all the way. But after what I saw here tonight, I don't know now. I think there's an outside chance here that Cody might actually do this. He might actually successfully defend at WrestleMania. I know some people are just going to be pissed. They're going to be angry because a lot of people doesn't want Cody to win this. But there's a chance now. There's a legitimate chance he goes over here.
There is a chance. There always is. I mean, we thought there have been WrestleManias in the past where we thought certain things were slam dunks, but they threw the curveball in our face. They pulled the rug out from under us. Shinsuke Nakamura, WrestleMania 34.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I thought he was going to beat AJ Styles. I thought he was going to win the title. He didn't. And then they turned him heel after the match. I'll give you another example. Cody, 2 years ago, we all thought Cody Rhodes was going to end the reign of Roman at SoFi. Didn't happen. They made us wait a year before they finally pulled the trigger on that. So those are two prime examples. So we'll have to wait and see. But as far as the segment goes, I got to be the man who tells it like it is here. If this felt like a segment that should have been important, but to me it just wasn't. All they did was recap things that have happened and spoke about things we know are coming in the near future. I also thought it was a half an hour of filler. Drew McIntyre ended up being sent out of the ring by Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton to end the segment. The live crowd was having fun, but it was a pretty shallow segment. And Randy Orton made a not so subtle reference to Cody Rhodes being in AEW before coming back to WWE. A lot of good things could come out of this. Could you imagine if they do pull a trigger, possibly on a babyface Randy Orton versus a heel John Cena? Could you imagine that? What would that be like?
I've heard the rumors of that possibly happening.
Yeah.
Because where is Backlash going to be at?
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Randy Orton's hometown.
Oh.
We got him, Bullock. We got him.
That would be the perfect setup for Cena versus Orton one more time, but the only difference is it would be the exact opposite. Cena as the heel, as he is right now, and Orton as the babyface.
We talked about it, Bullock. We talked about that during our group outing tonight.
Yeah.
So, all I can say is that crowd's going to be pro Randy Orton, and they're going to slam John Cena.
Absolutely.
And you know what John Cena's going to say? Bring it, bitches.
Yeah.
Because remember what I said about you. Nobody cared for me. And I'm going to disappoint you like I always have. Yeah. And your boy's going to lose it in your hometown. You're going to be disappointed because now I'm the man that disappoints people.
And the funny thing is that like I've been saying this whole time, that Cena's promos have made an actual point. There hasn't been enough time up to this point that I've even questioned Cena, I don't know, John, I don't know if that's true or not, because everything that he's said up to this point, this is why I'm so for the John Cena heel turn, because it's logical sense. It's logical sense because and the thing is, he was right. The fans did turn on him. They did betray him by basically talking about how the boobers were coming out, that they did not want Cena. The women and the children loved him, but the men are the one that started this. So let's take a hindsight out of here. If you're a child or a lady, you are completely absolved of this conversation. But the men, that 18 to 34 or the 18 to 40, you're the reason why John Cena is the way he is right now. Now, not everybody. Michael Bullock is not in that. Anthony Floyo's not in that. I'm not in that. Because we respected Cena. We actually respected him. We respected everything he did. The only argument, and I think you guys can agree, the only time we probably called Cena out for anything, well, I did not, but Anthony Floyo and Michael Bullock, I know you two called him out for it, was because of when he brought the WWE Championship and he made it into that spinner belt. Or when he was the United States Heavyweight Championship, the United States Heavyweight Champion, and he turned that belt into a spinner belt. That is the only two times that I can remember that you two called him out on it. But other than that, there's never been a time where you've been like you raised an eyebrow or that Cena's ever done anything wrong in your eyes. Only the times where he changed the belts into spinners was the only times where you kind of like, no, John, no.
I didn't have much of a problem with the. I didn't really make a big stink about the U.S. spinner belt, but the other one, the WWE Championship, yes, I will wholeheartedly admit it. From that first day, when I saw that thing, I was on the verge. I damn near threw up in my mouth. I was so mortified by it. I was like, "What the blue hell is that?" But that's for another day. So, but not so much the U.S. I mean, yes, I mean, I was not a big fan of that one either, but I never really made a big stink about it. I mean, that was back in the days when MF and I were doing the chats for Raw and SmackDown.
And I'll tell you this. I mean, if this match happens, that's the key word there. If.
Not when.
Can you imagine? I think this is where Randy Orton would go Cerebral Viper mode on John Cena, trying to defend the fans, and he would say, "Come on, John, these people loved you, and now you want to turn your back on them like they're a bunch of frauds?" No.
Imagine the build. Imagine the build up to that.
Yeah. Oh, that would be something.
It would be. But as we always say,
we just gotta wait and see if they do indeed pull the trigger, or is
read into it what you will.
Exactly. Take it with a grain of salt. Read into it what you will.
But that's what Bullock told me during our group outing tonight. So just wanted to throw that out there. But it did set up a match. It did set up a renewal of another great rivalry from recent years. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. I mean, we all remember the series of matches those two guys had for the WWE Championship during the Thunderdome era. The SummerSlam. They had an ambulance match at Clash of the Champions. They had a Hell in a Cell match, and then they had that match on the final Raw before Survivor Series in 2020. So we get to renew that rivalry here tonight. So, I mean, it was fine, yes, but for me, you know, I felt it was kind of filler. So, not the best segment. So, solid, but not overly spectacular. Let's put it that way. So, so not much more to say. Michael Bullock, for the first time, I give it off to you now.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony makes some valid points when it comes to this promo, but you know what? I thought it was a good promo segment, a good back and forth. I mean, was it the best? No, but I still thought it was good enough for it to be passable. I mean, but I mean, as we always like to say, you can't. I mean, what is it we always like to you would like to say, Florio?
Can't please everybody.
And you certainly are one that's tough to please, because you are the man who tells it like it is.
I don't impress easy, baby. I don't impress easy.
And you just showed it, so that's why he is who he is. So, it was a solid promo. I mean, was it the best? No. But I mean, I'm not going to complain too much about it. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to, I think, the first match of the night, Fletch.
Yes, it was, and it was for the WWE Tag Team Championships. The Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly. Street Profits wins the match in 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Anthony Florio, is all yours.
2.5 stars for me. While this may have been a decently competitive match with some fun double team spots, it never once felt like the titles were going to change hands. The Street Profits just won the titles recently, and giving them a reign of only 2 weeks after it took them over 4 years to get gold back around their waist would have been a very strange booking decision and a major disservice to Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. The action had a steady back and forth flow to it. Neither team had a clear advantage for more than a few brief moments. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins hit a doomsday blockbuster to get the win and retain the titles. Elton Prince and Kit Wilson are deceptively big. It's easy to forget how muscular they are until you see them next to a guy like Angelo Dawkins. The four-way collision in the middle of the ring was a fun moment. The crowd popped for it. So, solid 2.5 stars. Outcome never in doubt. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Street Profits, their first title defense, a big success after it took them over 4 years just to get the titles back.
Yeah, this was about a 2.5 star match. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have made sense for the Profits to drop the titles after they basically had just won it. So, I mean, especially against a team like Pretty Deadly. I mean, oh man, me and Florio would have been like, really? These two freaking Hammenagers as tag team champions? Yeah. Oh, and I'll bring back one thing that you love, Florio. Pretty Deadly as the tag team champions? Yeah, that's gonna put some butts in the seats. The toilet seats.
Hi-yo!
Yeah, it's been a long time since I brought that up, so 2.5 stars. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 2.5. I think it was a solid matchup. Nothing more to say. So we do indeed move on. All right, guys. Here we go. So for the first time ever in WWE history, and this I cannot believe is going to happen, but what WWE's Hall of Fame has now added is a new wing to the Hall of Fame. It's going to be called Immortal Moments. Basically, the greatest matches in WrestleMania history and greatest moments in WrestleMania history or in professional wrestling history altogether will be immortalized forever in the WWE Hall of Fame. And the first ever inductee of this immortal moments will be held at this year's Hall of Fame induction ceremony leading into this year's WrestleMania in Vegas. And the first inductee of that will take us all the way back to WrestleMania 13, Chicago, Illinois, at the Rosemont Horizon, when it was Stone Cold Steve Austin going one-on-one against Bret the Hitman Hart in an I Quit match that was special guest refereed by Ken Shamrock. Michael Bullock, what a historic moment and what a fitting match to have in the Hall of Fame than one of the most bloodiest fights in WrestleMania history.
With one of the greatest rivalries in WWE history. I mean, I remember that night so well. I mean, first off, you gotta commend Triple H and WWE for doing something like this. I mean, for the first time ever having an immoral moment to be remembered at the Hall of Fame. And what better way than Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart in an I Quit match at WrestleMania 13. I mean, that was one of the most bloodiest and most violent matches, one of the most violent matches I'd seen in WrestleMania history at that time. And the rival and that night we saw a double turn where Bret Hart officially became a heel and Stone Cold became a baby face. And I can't imagine how you must have felt that night, Florio, to see your hero Bret the Hitman Hart turn heel. I'm sure for you, I'm sure you were probably like, you know what? It's been a long time coming, but also as a fan, I'm sure it had to break your heart that
You'll get my thoughts when it's my turn.
But man, oh man, just from that iconic image of Stone Cold Steve Austin being bloodied while he was in that sharpshooter. That's like with the blood trickling down his face. And yeah, I mean, but the thing is, guys, Bret Hart did win the match, but Stone Cold Steve Austin never said I quit. He never submitted. Bret Hart only won the match because Stone Cold couldn't continue because he just passed out from the pain and from the loss of blood. So, man, that if you were a hardcore wrestling fan, that match was for you. I mean, the blood, all the chair shots, and my goodness. And like you said, what a match to be immortalized at the Hall of Fame. So Fletch, as I give it to you, man, what a night what a match that was. I mean, just that iconic image of Stone Cold in the sharpshooter with the blood trickling down. I mean, and then of course the double turn. Man. I mean, everybody was talking about Taker versus Psycho Sid for the title and all that, but this match stole the damn show.
It overshadowed Taker and
It overshadowed
and
it. At the end of the day, everybody was talking about Stone Cold and Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah. It made Stone Cold the legend that he was. It made Bret Hart add another layer to his greatness by turning him heel. And that entire time, it was something that was so unique and so amazing that you couldn't take your eyes off that match. And that's why this is an immortal moment. And props to Triple H, props to the WWE for doing something very unique and never done before. But I got a weird feeling this might have been a TKO call. This might have been Ari Emanuel, who is the owner of TKO. And he might have had a call on this because the UFC, in their Hall of Fame, they have a wing where they do legendary fights in their history, and that they have inducted into their Hall of Fame along the way as well. So for me, for WWE to do this, I think it's a brilliant move. Absolutely brilliant, amazing, and this is something that I don't think we would have seen from the previous administration. This is out of the box thinking and revolutionary move that's going to add yet another great moment for us. And as a matter of fact, it's going to make us want to go back now, go into Peacock to watch WrestleMania 13, just to particularly now watch this match over and to marvel, to wonder why did they choose this match. Oh, that's why. It's a brilliant move. This is, without a doubt, a time capsule moment that makes us want to relive the greatest moments in WrestleMania history. And I know a lot of people is going to be like, well, wait a minute. Why was it this match when there's 20 million different matches you could pick? Hold on, folks. Relax. Some of your favorite matches may come soon enough. As a matter of fact, maybe next year, end of an era, Taker, Trips, WrestleMania 28, Miami, maybe they get in the next year. Or it could be another match that we could see. But whatever the case may be, this was a shrewd, calculated, and amazing move by WWE, because now this opens a plethora of matches, a plethora of moments at WrestleMania, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a WrestleMania moment. Maybe does this now, the question now becomes is this just geared to WrestleMania? Or has WWE opened the Pandora's box? Are we talking about greatest moments in wrestling history now? Because if they do that, now you can get the gambit on this. Like anything is open for sale. But I will say this, a brilliant move for the first choice. And without a doubt, like I said, this stole the show at WrestleMania 13. This made WrestleMania 13. Even though a lot of people does pan it as a middle of the road WrestleMania, you got to openly admit that that match alone was a 5-star classic with Shakespearean drama all over the place. And as a matter of fact, I'll even go as far to say it, if we were ever doing a recap of WrestleMania 13, this match was my fight of the night. Anthony Florio, is yours.
Man, if it seems like I'm emotional, I am, because it's Bret Hart, and this match holds a special place in my heart, of course. Even though it's not really my style of match, I prefer the scientific, technical chain wrestling. You know how I am about that, as does Bullock. But this was more of an MF style match. MF loves the hardcore element. He loves that smash mouth, in your face, physical style, be a man fight. This was one of the first be a man fights that you could ever remember seeing. And I have to correct you guys. It was not an I Quit match. They billed it as a submission match. Remember that. It was a submission match, not an I Quit match. Even though it kind of did have a bit of an I Quit element in there. But man, oh man. You wonder why we call Chicago the IWC capital of the world. That crowd was lit from the moment the bell rang. Great commentary. Say what you want about Vince, but Vince was a very good commentator. He really was. But I thought it was JR who really stole the show on commentary. And Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler even had some funny moments during commentary during that. Where do I begin with that match? That first moment when they were brawling all around the arena, made their way back to the ringside area. Stone Cold runs Bret Hart into the steel steps, and you can hear JR say, well, they spent about 30 seconds inside the ring and a hell of a lot of time outside the ring. I remember that one. And Bret Hart had placed a chair around Stone Cold's ankle. Stone Cold got out of it, and then Stone Cold blasted the Hitman with a chair. And Jerry Lawler yelled out, "It's WrestleMania, baby!" And then he hit it, and then Stone Cold hits Bret with the chair again, and Jerry Lawler yells out, "Yes!" And then Bret Hart would then hit Austin with the ring bell, and then of course the sharpshooter, that visual of Stone Cold Steve Austin with the blood running down his face, got on his teeth, and he technically did not submit. He technically passed out from the pain. Ken Shamrock had to stop the match, and then Bret went to attack Stone Cold after the match. Ken Shamrock picked up Bret Hart and tossed him aside, and that made the fans very happy to see that. And then Ken Shamrock and Bret Hart had some words after the match, and IGN many years ago did a list of the 20 greatest matches in WrestleMania history, and this match came in at number 1. This match actually did come in at number 1. And of course, as you know, Michael Bullock and I, we do what we call our Row 2 pay-per-views. I mean, we do it only for the big 4. We do it for the Rumble. We do it for SummerSlam. We do it for Survivor Series. And right now, Michael Bullock and I are currently doing our Road to WrestleMania right now. And I can confirm that that both of us have already watched this match back as part of WrestleMania 13. Bullock did it a lot quicker than I did. He got a very early jump. And, of course, me, you know how I do it, one day at a time. And, but I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for this match, if this match didn't happen, WrestleMania 13 would have gone down as one of the single worst WrestleManias of all time. It would have been up there with 9, and it would have been up there with 11. Those were easily the 3 worst WrestleManias of all time, right there. That match alone literally saved WrestleMania 13. And then they managed to also get themselves out of the doghouse a little further, because right after that, they had that insane Chicago street fight with Ahmed Johnson and the LOD against the Nation of Domination. And that was easily the second best fight of WrestleMania 13. So those 2 matches alone, but especially Stone Cold and Bret, they saved.
And then, of course,
your special moment, Bullet.
My special moment, that
your man,
where my man, The Undertaker, became the WWE champion.
His second title win, and defeating Psycho Sid in a main event, a slow, boring, plodding main event, even with the no DQ stipulation. But there's something for everybody. I mean, Bullock got the big moment at the end with The Undertaker winning the title. But seeing my man Bret Hart doing what he did, I'll be honest, it broke my heart at first. But then as the heel turn went further and Bret reformed the Hart Foundation, I'm like, okay, I'm all in now. I am all in. When he reformed the Hart Foundation with the British Bulldog, Owen Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and Brian Pillman, when he reformed the Hart Foundation, I'm not gonna lie, I marked. I was like, yes, okay. Now I want to see where this goes. It hurt at first, yes, because I much prefer Bret as a heroic babyface like Cody Rhodes is nowadays. But when he reformed the Hart Foundation and then as the heel turn went further and then brought the whole Canada thing into it, then I got sold. Then I was sold right there. I'm like, okay, I want to see where this goes. And the longer it went, the more I loved it. So yes, it hurt at first, but then I grew to accept it. So that was awesome. And MF, you brought up a great point. WrestleMania, I mean, with these matches that are going into the Hall of Fame, if this is all about WrestleMania, well, holy hell. One match that immediately comes to mind, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. That should be in there. Hopefully that gets included one day. I'll even throw in the Ultimate Challenge. I think that deserves a look. The career-ending match, Ultimate Warrior, Macho King Randy Savage, WrestleMania 7. Especially the post-match of that, when Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth reunited. The ladder match, Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. That deserves a nod. I'll even throw in the Iron Man match, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12. I think that deserves to be in there. Heck, I remember years ago, Devon Dudley, he even made a push for the tables, ladders, and chairs match itself to be immortalized in the WWE Hall of Fame. And you know something? Devon's right. I think the TLC match should be immortalized. Started as the Triangle Ladder match at WrestleMania 16/2000. And then, of course, TLC 1 at SummerSlam later that year. And then the other night, watching back TLC 2 as part of WrestleMania 17. I mean, TLC deserves a special place in the Hall of Fame. I'll give you Rock and Hogan from 18. I think that should be immortalized. That crowd alone, that was the greatest crowd for a wrestling match. The only one that came close to it was the crowd for John Cena and CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. But if we go outside of WrestleMania, that deserves a Hall of Fame mention as well. Taker and Shawn, 25 and 26. End of an era, that deserves to be immortalized. So many great matches over the years deserve to be immortalized. The first women's main event, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch from 35. That deserves to be immortalized. Maybe even the Boneyard match with Taker and AJ at 36. And most recently, the Bloodline Rules from last year with Roman and Cody. There are so many great matches that deserve their flowers. And for WWE to give this match, to have it as their first choice, Stone Cold and Bret Hart, who literally saved WrestleMania 13 from being a dumpster fire of an average and mediocre WrestleMania. Literally pulled it from the gutter. And I'm over the moon for both men, Bret especially, but I also have some big time respect for Stone Cold as well. I appreciate him just as much as I appreciate the Hitman, obviously, and those two deserve it, and they will both be there. They will both be in Vegas. And it was an honor and a blessing for me to be able to report that, for me to send that to our Talking Wrestling TXN News and Views messenger chat. When I dropped that in there, I'm like, I can't wait to hear what these guys have to say about it. And a special shout out to our dear friend Mike Silvera, who I've been dying to have on this show, and hopefully we'll get him on the show someday. When I asked him about it, he feels the same way we all do. He's just as excited about it as we are, and he echoes our sentiments. So, oh man, but congratulations to Stone Cold and Bret Hart for that submission match, WrestleMania 13. It's a match that will live forever. And Bullock and I have already rewatched it as part of our road to WrestleMania. And I'm sure MF is probably going to go ahead and, when he has some downtime, he'll probably go back and relive it. I mean, and one last thought before we get back into the action here, and about Smackdown here tonight. There was a guy named Thomas Golianopoulos of Complex Sports. He rated this match as number 1 in his list of the 50 greatest matches in WrestleMania history. 6 factors. He citing the match's 6 factors: storyline, innovation, psychology, finish, post-match angle, and fallout. It received a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer and was also voted by the Wrestling Observer newsletter readers the match of the year for 1997. And also PWI Illustrated also rated it, or Pro Wrestling Illustrated rather. They voted it match of the year in 1997. And JR, when Ken Shamrock called it one of the greatest matches in wrestling history, and Jim Ross called it the greatest match he called at WrestleMania and the most well-executed match he's seen. Need I say more? Can't wait to see Stone Cold and Bret at the Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame has already topped last year. Last year was a mediocre class outside of Paul Heyman. So this class is already bigger. Triple H, Michelle McCool, Lex Luger, Natural Disasters, and now this match going in. I mean, it's going to be emotional with Triple H. It's going to be emotional with Luger, especially if he walks. And Stone Cold and Bret, you guys are going to have to get me a whole box of Kleenex because I'm going to be a freaking emotional wreck seeing those two up there, especially my hero, Bret Hart. So, well-deserved, guys. Not much more to say. MF, let's get back into the show. Oh, I'm so damn excited. That's awesome. MF, are you there?
Sorry, I forgot to mute my
Got to
flipping
unmute the
mic.
mic. That's all right.
Uh, yeah. But it was Caden Carter and Katana Chance. They were going up against the Secret Harvest of Piper Niven and Alba Fire, and it was the Harvest winning the match in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. I do believe this goes to actually it goes to Anthony because I think no, it goes to Michael Bullock because I started with the promo.
Actually, it goes to
You
you
did the
because I think
first.
Bullock led off on the Hall of Fame announcement.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
goes to
right.
you,
Okay.
Fletch, because I let off on the Hall of Fame.
All right. Fine match. I'll say about 2.25, 2.5 stars. I really got nothing more to say. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll say it like this. Okay match, 2.25, 2.5. Piper Niven's power allowed her to dominate most of the time she was legal, but a surprising show of power from Caden Carter during a Samoan drop almost ended the match. Chelsea, the Secret Harvest, got the win. Zelina Vega, though, ran into the ring to make the save when the fight continued. Unfortunately for Zelina, the numbers game was too much, and Vega ended up laid out at the end of the segment. It would have made sense for Zelina Vega to accompany Caden Carter and Katana Chance to the ring for this match, seeing as they were all part of the segment that booked it. So, leapfrog double team spot at ringside was fun, but Niven taking out both opponents with a senton a moment later was even better. Secret Harvest, not really crazy about it, but it's a solid name, I guess. So, not much more to say. I'll give it about 2.25, 2.5, just about. So, not much more to say. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.25, 2.5. I mean, it was fine. Nothing. Yeah, it was fine, but not overly spectacular. I mean, yeah, I'm with you on everything on what you said. So, let's move on, Fletch.
All right. With that said, we do move on, and the next thing that we had was the United States heavyweight title on the line. LA Knight versus Braun Strowman. The fight gets thrown out in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Jacob Fatu got involved. Oh no.
Oh,
Nothing more to
yes.
say. Anthony, what could have.
Yeah, what could have been. Um, the monster among men seemed to have the match in hand after a commercial break, but Jacob Fatu showed up and caused a disqualification, which is exactly what happened in Fatu's match last week. Using disqualifications to build a story can make sense in small doses, but it feels like this is a well WWE has done way too many times in 2025. This could have ended with Fatu costing Strowman the win without a DQ and had the same impact on the story. If this match had been a little longer, it might not have been as big of a deal, but having a DQ in a match that felt brief made it feel like a waste. Strowman hitting a big boot seconds after Knight talked some trash was way funnier than it was supposed to be. So, I could probably give this about 2.25, 2.5, even though there is a part of me that kind of wants to NA this thing. So, because nothing got accomplished here. I believe we could be looking at Jacob Fatu. Well, here's the thing: Braun Strowman does deserve a rematch because of this. So maybe they could have a match where Jacob Fatu is barred from ringside, and then we get a winner. I could see LA Knight winning it. I do believe the end game is WrestleMania, and I do believe Jacob Fatu will challenge LA Knight for the U.S. title, and if that happens, the Samoan Werewolf is walking out of Vegas, the new United States Heavyweight Champion. You heard it here first. 2.25, 2.5. If I put a rating on it, but with all due respect, I'm giving this a no rating. I'm giving this an NA. So with that being said, Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a no rating as well. I mean, I do want to give it a rating, but but I just think it just literally took away from it. So, no rating for me. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'll give it a no rating as well. I kind of feel like it doesn't deserve any rating here. So, with that said, we're just gonna move right on along here on the show. Hold on, I just want to make sure. Wins it in 8:05. Who did it go to? Michael Bullock.
Oh,
Yes.
what are we talking about here?
All right, so
I think it's Michin and Charlotte, right?
It's tough to hear Fletch because he's been like cutting in and out.
Yeah, he has been cutting in and out. Yes, he has.
So I don't know, like if that was the match he was talking about, or
I want to say it was Michin and Charlotte. MF?
what did you say, Fletch?
it's Michin and Charlotte. Charlotte wins in 8:05.
All right, there we go. I'll give it about two and a quarter, 2.5 here. I mean, obviously you want to continue to give Charlotte the momentum going into her women's title match against Tiffany Stratton, but I don't know about you guys, but I think you guys saw something that really intrigued a lot of people. Well, of course, during of course, prior to it, you had Jay Cargill basically come to rescue BFAB and Meechin from a beatdown by Naomi, and just as Jay Cargill was making her way back, she had a little stare down with Charlotte Flair. Could they be teasing something somewhere down the line where we could get these two? If we get that, all I can say is sign me the hell up for it. So, 2.25, 2.5. So Fletch, it is yours. But what about that stare down between Jay Cargill and Charlotte?
I would like to have the match, but it doesn't need the title. This is one of those times where if you just let Jay Cargill and Charlotte Flair fight one on one, it's a main event anywhere in the world.
And that's why I've been saying, and I even mentioned this to Florio Fletch, that this is why I said Tiffany Stratton should win this, because Charlotte doesn't even really need the title.
No,
she doesn't really need it. I mean, she's already accomplished so much as a Raw Women's Champion, a SmackDown Women's Champion. Does she really need another run with the title?
I mean the only reason why that they want to do it is because they want her to break Ric Flair's record. They want her to get 17. Even though I don't know if that would be an apples to oranges type thing. I don't know if anybody would acknowledge it, but they're going to try to push that narrative that, hey, she just surpassed her father for the most world title wins in wrestling history.
But right now, she's got that where people are just like, she's right now at the point of just go away.
Yeah. But the thing is that after that horrific injury, after she tore her ACL, MCL, PCL, and the meniscus, oh, hang on.
Looks like MF had to step away for a minute. I believe he was getting into what was going on with with the possibility of Charlotte and Jade Cargill, and I know he was talking about Charlotte with the title as well. And Bullock, we did talk about this a little bit as we were heading to our group outing tonight. Charlotte, doesn't really need the title, honestly. I mean, we were thinking a possible passing of the torch situation, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. But I'll take it for a spin while MF tends to his matter there. Hopefully we get him back soon enough, and we'll await his return. But and then we'll let him finish his thought when he comes back. So I'll take it for a spin right now. This was about a 2.5, 2 3/4 star match. The match had a slow pace and didn't get much time before the commercial break, so it felt like they never quite found their groove until the last minute or two. Charlotte got the win with the figure 8 in the end. And Naomi gave a promo directed at Jade Cargill in a pre-recorded video in a vignette, and she did a very good job selling her new heel persona. So we're definitely looking at a Jade Cargill-Naomi bout at WrestleMania 41. We just gotta wait to make that official. And next week, B-Fab is gonna go one-on-one with Naomi. So be interesting to see how that plays out. And that's when SmackDown will be back in the States. SmackDown will be back in the United States next Friday night, and they will be in the IWC capital of the world, the arena formerly known as the Rosemont Horizon, now known as the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. And that's the only thing that's been announced for SmackDown next week, as far as I know, unless MF has something that we don't know. But yeah, solid, okay match. It was like I said, it was about a 2.5, 2 3/4 star match between Michin and Charlotte, and it was Naomi who beat the hell out of Michin and B-Fab before the match even started, and then Charlotte picked the bones, but Michin held her own. But that's all there is to say there. So we are awaiting MF to return. Hopefully we get him back soon enough. And as the old saying goes, anything can happen on a live show, and anything can and will happen during a live show. And I'm hoping that things are okay on MF's end. So let's see. He left off on the Charlotte match, I do believe. So I'll just have to find it on my end here. Just bear with me for a moment, and I'll carry on. I'll step in for MF while until he returns. So I do believe he was. We just had the Charlotte and Michin match. So and then Tiffany Stratton had a backstage interview with Jackie Redmond, and I thought it was a good promo from her. She sounded like a real person as opposed to playing the one-dimensional rich girl character. And she saved the toodles for the end. But even so, I thought some progress was made on Tiffany Stratton, because I know last week during that sit-down interview with Charlotte, they called it a bit of a sink or swim situation for Tiffany Stratton. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. So, all right. And then this was, I believe this was actually where they acknowledged the big announcement about the Hall of Fame, about the Bret Hart Stone Cold submission match from WrestleMania 13 being inducted, and they will both be there, like I said, and that's going to be one hell of a moment, and I can't wait for that. Let's see what's up next on the docket here. We had Randy Orton squaring off against Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre actually wins this match in 7 minutes and 50 seconds because of a distraction by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens causing a distraction. So, and that was enough for Drew McIntyre to hit the Claymore for the win. These two have fought many times before, but this might have been their shortest match. They lasted less than 10 minutes before Kevin Owens provided a distraction that allowed Drew McIntyre to hit the Claymore for the win. Prize Fighter tried to continue the attack at ringside, but was sent fleeing through the crowd when the Viper turned the tables on him. This was a fun match until the ending, but it was on the short side. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre have great chemistry, so with a few more minutes, this would have been the best thing on the show. And it would have made more sense for this to be the main event of the night. But there was something else that main evented, and it was fine. I do have a little bit of some constructive criticism. Too many matches on this show had dirty endings. WWE needs to figure out a good way to limit that so they don't pile up on one show. And that was one of the major gripes I had with this show tonight. A lot of clunky finishes is what I'm trying to say here. So I'll give this about 2.5 stars. I was teetering it around the 2 3/4 area, but the Owens distraction kind of brought it down for me a little bit. So that was a 2.5 star match. So while we await for MF to return, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this matchup. Randy Orton defeating Drew McIntyre defeating Randy Orton 7 minutes and 50 seconds thanks to a distraction from Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I'll give this about 2.5 here. I mean, yeah, it was a fine match, but yeah, the distraction definitely took away from it. So, yeah, I'm not really gonna get too much into it. So, like you said, we're still waiting for MF to come back, but I think we'll just give our overall thoughts.
Well, actually, I do believe there's one thing that we do. There is one thing left that does. Well, actually, no, that we have another match here.
All right.
We have it was Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso squaring off against The Miz. Jimmy Uso winning the match also in 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Bullock, what says you?
Another 2.5 star match. I mean, obviously, you want to give Jimmy the momentum going into his big matchup with Gunther on Monday night on Raw. So, yeah, a good win for Jimmy. So we'll see what happens here. So, your thoughts, Florio?
2.5. Okay fight. Nothing really to write home about, to be honest with you. It was an all right match. It was kind of rough in spots, to be honest with you. The highlight was Joe Tessitore ducking away from Jimmy to keep his headset on. So, but yes, Bullock makes a good point. He's right. Jimmy Uso needed the win a lot more because he's got a huge match when he squares off against Gunther on Raw Monday. And that'll be another Monday afternoon Raw for all of us here in the States. A 3 p.m. start time on Netflix. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. So not much more to say there. So then there was a backstage moment. Drew McIntyre, he shook hands with Louis Capaldi. Louis Capaldi is a very popular young singer. And they had a moment there. And Drew looked like Drew was getting ready to leave the arena, but well, let's just say he encountered a roadblock. There was someone on the other side of that door, and it happened to be Damian Priest. And oh my goodness, Damian Priest went to town on Drew McIntyre, beat the holy hell out of him, put him through a windshield, a car windshield. And you could hear McIntyre yelling, "My eye, my eye." And well, I think it's about time that Damian Priest got a little moment there. Because for the longest time during this build, it looked like Drew McIntyre was getting the best of Damian Priest constantly, week after week after week. But tonight, they finally turned the tables and had Damian Priest finally get over on Drew McIntyre with a South of Heaven chokeslam on top of a car windshield. And, oof, brutal sight. Hopefully McIntyre is okay. Only one match announced for next week in Chicago. That, of course, B-Fab squaring off against Naomi. We'll see what else they decide. Okay, we got MF back. MF, I hope I didn't overstep any boundaries, but I took over while you tended to your matter. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, no, everything's fine. It's just, it is what it is. I'm done. I'm just done mentally, physically, whatever. I don't give a damn anymore. Jimmy Uso goes one-on-one with The Miz. Jimmy Uso wins the match in 7 minutes and 50 seconds. It was a fine match. I'm not gonna. I mean, it was about a 2.5-star bout. Floyd, what's yours?
I already addressed it, but I'll. There was actually one other match before that, MF, and that was Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre. But Bullock and I, we already talked about it. Drew McIntyre won that match also in 750 because of a distraction by Kevin Owens. So, but Drew McIntyre got his comeuppance though because Damian Priest beat the hell out of him. So, and he definitely needed it. So, as far as Uso and Miz goes, that was a 2.5-star match. Bullock already gave his thoughts on it. So,
all right,
let's move on.
Fine. The only thing we got left is just the main event segment, which was the contract signing. So basically, the big announcement that's coming out of it is that they're gonna do it. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk is going to main event WrestleMania. Night 1 is what we've been told. Is that it will be Roman versus Seth versus Punk. Punk gets his WrestleMania moment. He gets to main event. Obviously, Seth was protesting, saying that Punk doesn't deserve it, and blamed Roman for it. Roman, basically being the tribal chief, laid the table out saying, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to go. So that's it. And obviously CM Punk is living the dream. He's living the moment. He gets what he wants all along. That was the one thing that he's always wanted to do in his entire career, to main event WrestleMania. And now, thanks to the blessing of this 2-night format, CM Punk gets to do it. Night 1 is now official. Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins, CM Punk, triple threat to main event. Night 1 of WrestleMania in Vegas. There was a little bit of some concern about how the fans were going to react, or there was a lot of concern because they've been underperforming ticket sales going to WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of tickets sold now to know that Punk, Roman, and Seth is main eventing this. So there's really nothing more to add. Anthony Florio, what a way to cap off the first night of WrestleMania with this match.
Perfect choice. Perfect choice for it to main event night 1. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Well, not really a bold prediction, but I think Cody Rhodes and John Cena is going to main event night 2. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, what about Jey Uso and Gunther? I could see that being an opener. I could see it jumping it off. Either jump off night 1 or jump off night 2. I think it's going to be a great jump off.
Just as much as I think Tiffany versus Charlotte might actually jump off night 1. I think what they might do is Tiffany and Charlotte jumps off night 1, as much as I think Jey Uso versus Gunther might jump off night 2. I think you're going to get the Rumble winners starting the show.
That's a possibility. I could see that. But unfortunately, we still have to wait and find out which night it is accordingly. So we can plan accordingly. But anyways, segment of the night for me, easily. The London crowd sang for all three men as they made their way to the ring. Punk kept his speech brief, and Roman tried to direct him to look at a certain place in the contract. Paul Heyman revealed the match they will be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. Reigns wanted Punk to acknowledge and thank him for getting him a main event after all these years. And then Punk got down on one knee and thanked him in the most sarcastic way possible to end the show. But notice, CM Punk did say something that should really catch our eyes and our ears, gentlemen. He said, that's not even the favor. That's not the favor that Paul Heyman owes me. Read into that what you will, gentlemen. So, there's nothing left for me to say. Segment of the night, great segment. Crowd made it amazing, and it's nothing new for for Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, especially Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns has main evented WrestleMania so many times it's not even funny. And it's another main event for Seth Rollins. I mean, this is not his first, but for CM Punk, especially after last year when he had that tricep injury at the hands of Drew McIntyre in the Royal Rumble match, I am so glad and I'm so happy that CM Punk is finally getting his WrestleMania main event. Long overdue, well deserved, and it's a full circle. This is now officially a full circle moment for the best in the world. Well deserved. Segment of the night, no doubt about it. So, Michael Bullock, no doubt about it, the segment of the night. But you noticed, CM Punk said it. Being in the main event of WrestleMania, not the favor. It's not the favor that Paul Heyman owes me. What do you suppose that means?
Well, as you would just say, read into it what you will. But, yeah, this was the segment of the night. I mean, it definitely buys into the hype. I mean, now that this is going to be the main event of night 1, so what is that favor? Only CM Punk and Paul Heyman know, so we're still going to have to wait to see what that favor is. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, all right. We'll see. We'll see. Anthony Floyo, you lead off on the overall review, and then we'll go very quickly into the NCAA tournament.
Fair enough. I got to be honest, MF. Tonight's SmackDown was one of the least memorable episodes in recent memory for multiple reasons, but it was not necessarily the worst show in the world. The London crowd was loud and energetic, and that can make just about anything more entertaining, but it was not enough to mask how many dirty and clunky finishes we saw on this show. The tag title match, maybe the best thing on the show in terms of in-ring action. So if you only have enough time to watch one thing, make it that, I guess. So, and the contract signing, of course. So, I'm sorry, MF. I got to give this about 6.5 out of 10 for me. So, hopefully when we go back to the States and we go to Chicago next week, hopefully that'll turn it around. So 6.5 for me. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. I mean, it was, let's just say, I mean, it was solid, but not overly spectacular. So it's yours, Fletch.
Partial disagreement. I'm going to give it a 7. I thought it was fine. I mean, like you said, you're right that it definitely wasn't the blowaway episode that we were hoping for. And I hope that they do fix that, because there's going to be some fixing about it. Raws have been very solid to very good. SmackDown, I kind of feel like they're losing their way. I think they're counting the days now to try to get back to this 2-hour format. I think the 3 hours is not working. It was a great idea. It was great for what it was worth. I think after Mania is over, you got to go back to 2. You got to go back to 2. That's when you start to get better quality, better shows, whatever you want to talk. That's my feeling. That's my sentiment. All right. So very quickly, we're going to get into the NCAA tournament. Maybe bonus commentary. We might have to get Anthony Floyo in here. So hold on. We might not be done yet. So first off, the game that we were talking about last night that we had to abandon because of the overtime, it was Texas Tech versus Arkansas. This was the number 3 seed versus the number 10 seed, and it was Texas Tech winning it 85-83 in overtime. They advanced to the Elite Eight. They will take on Florida. We'll get into that game in a little bit. Now, the action that was going on right now, earlier today. We started it off. This is the Midwest region. As we actually know, this was the South region, and we started off with Michigan State. No, actually, no. We started in the Midwest. I'm sorry. It was Tennessee going up against Kentucky, the 2 versus the 3. The Tennessee Volunteers are going to the regional final. They will be playing against the winner of Auburn and Michigan. We'll get that in just a minute.
No. That's the which game was that? That was the Tennessee game?
Yes.
No, they got the Houston Purdue winner.
Oh, Houston Purdue. I stand corrected. So Tennessee advances. They're going to wait on Houston Purdue. So 78-65. That was in the Midwest regional in Midwest. And then in the South, we had was Michigan State. Actually, no. Yes. Michigan State against Mississippi. Michigan State wins 73-70. Now into the late games. The number 1 seed beats Michigan. Auburn advances. They won it 78-65. And now the final game that's going on right now, we got a barn burner. 60-60. 29 seconds left in the game. Bonus commentary. Anthony Florio, jump in. It's yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, MF. And yes, the Purdue, this is out of the Midwest region. Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, Indiana. The number 1 seed in the Midwest, the Houston Cougars, squaring off against the number 4 seed, Purdue Boilermakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are tied at 60-60. 29 seconds to go. Now, here's the thing. I have a device that's a little different from MF and Bullock, so they're probably going to be ahead of me. So forgive me if we're not in sync as far as where we are on our respective devices. This game is over on TBS. And it's Andrew Catalan, Steve Lapis, and Evan Washburn. They are on the call. So this is where we get the TXN Sports World portion of the show. And as MF alluded to earlier, the Michigan State game, MF, was actually the first game of the night. Michigan State, the 2 seed in the South region against the 6 seed Ole Miss with Michigan State. That was a great game, by the way. Ole Miss and Michigan State. Michigan State winning 73-70. The 15th Elite Eight appearance for Michigan State. That's the 6th most all time. And Michigan State, they moved on. And Tennessee didn't really have that much trouble with Kentucky. 78-65 in the Midwest. The Tennessee Volunteers await the winner of this matchup. And then Auburn. Michigan gave them some fits a little early, but Auburn flexed the muscle, showed why they were the number 1 overall seed, and Auburn defeating Michigan by a final score of 78-65. Same score as the Kentucky-Tennessee game. Go figure. So we have the regional final, the South regional final set for a tip-off of 5:05 p.m. approximately on Sunday. And it will be another 1 versus 2 matchup. Number 1 Auburn versus number 2 Michigan State. Man, that is going to be a fun game. I can't wait to see it. So we have one last piece of the puzzle to fill. We're tied at 60. Okay, here we go. Now, this is from my end now. I apologize if it's if we're out of sync on F and Bullock. So here we go. All right, Houston's got the ball now. 20 seconds to go. They're going to try to kill as much clock as they can. And he is holding that thing. Shot clock is winding down. 10 seconds to go. Puts it up. No good. The tip. No. Out of bounds. And does it stay with Houston or is it going to Purdue? I think it stays with Houston. It looks like they called the timeout. Kelvin Sampson. That looked a little questionable to me, guys. You could have made an argument that could have been a foul there. The shooter looked like he got away with a little something there. That very easily could have been an offensive foul, guys, as far as I'm concerned. That looked a little dicey to me.
Looks like there was some contact. I was gonna say it looks like there was some contact there. So yeah, I could see where that could have been called a foul.
I think it went off the Purdue defender. So looks like it went off of Purdue. So if that's the case, the ball will stay with Houston. We do have an official review. 2.2 seconds remaining in regulation. Tied at 60. From my vantage point, guys, it looks like it went off of Purdue. Number 23 of Purdue. It looked like the ball deflected off of his hand. Didn't really see anything else after that. We'll see what the referees say here. Kelvin Sampson talking it over. So far in these regional finals, I mean, it's been pretty much all chalk here so far, guys. All the number one seeds move forward. We only lost 1-2 seed. That was, of course, St. John's when they were upset by Arkansas last week in Providence. All right, what's the call? It looks like the possession arrow is with Houston. And they put some extra time on the clock, too. So it's 2.8 seconds. It will be Houston ball. Houston will have a chance to win it. Tennessee awaits the winner on Sunday. The first game on Sunday. MF will set the table when we're done. They got it inbound. Gets it in, puts it up and in. They stopped the clock with 0.8 of a second. 0.8. And the referees are going to have to convert. We're going to have to get another review here. The basket is good. It is 62-60 Houston. But we got to see how much time was left. When the ball goes in, oh, that's very close. You could have made it. You can make an argument, maybe 0.9, maybe an even second. What a great play by Houston, though. Excellent play. Excellent play call by Coach Kelvin Sampson. Incredible. Now Houston needs one defensive stop. It looks like they've added 0.1 of a second, so it's 0.9 of a second here, guys. 0.9. And Matt Painter, we'll see what Matt Painter will draw for Purdue. All right, guys, here we go. Can the Houston Cougars hang on? .9 to go. All right, we're just about set to go here, guys. Here we go. Can Houston hang on? Houston has a foul to give. Man, big finish here. Okay, here we go, guys. Can Purdue do it? They get the inbound, puts it up. No good. And Houston has won it. The Houston Cougars survive. 62-60. The Houston Cougars move on to the Elite Eight, and they will meet the Tennessee Volunteers on Sunday. MF, set it up.
All right, with that said, here are the lineups for the regional final. We start out west at 6:09 Eastern Time. This game will be on TBS, True TV, and streaming on HBO Max. Or if you got the NCAA March Madness app, you will see the number one Florida Gators. They will go up against the Texas Tech. That will be at 6:09 Eastern Time from San Francisco at the Chase Center. Then in the East Regional Final at 8:49 Eastern, it will be the number one Duke Blue Devils going up against the number two Alabama Crimson Tide. That will be that game will also be on TBS, True TV, and on HBO Max. Or again on the NCAA app. On Sunday. Now this I don't think they've posted yet, but I'm pretty sure it's like
they have. They have posted the times. I can confirm they have posted the times.
Is it the same times or is it different?
It's different. The first the difference is the games will be on CBS this time around and also streaming on Paramount Plus.
Yep.
The first game will be at 2:20 and the second game will be at 5:05.
At 5:05. All right. So, with that, and I'm guessing it's the Midwest first, or is it
Midwest first? Yes.
So Midwest Regional Final. Hold on, gotta pull this back. So the Midwest Regional Final, which was 10. No, yes. So the Midwest Regional Final will start, and that one was, and I believe, Anthony, you alluded to it, the number one Houston Cougars versus the number two Michigan State Spartans.
No. Nope. Number one seed, Midwest Regional, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Tip-off at 2:20 on CBS and Paramount Plus. The number one seed, Houston Cougars versus the number two seed, Tennessee Volunteers.
All right. And then at 5:05 is the South Regional Final. And that will be the number one overall and number one seed Auburn Tigers. They go up against the number two Michigan State Spartans. So, oh man, batten down the hatches this weekend, folks. So the Final Four, the final pieces will be put into place. And then next weekend on Saturday will be the Final Four. And we will have an official preview of the Final Four next week, next Friday, right here on this show. So we're out of here. So for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, I am Michael Fletcher. We'll see you all on Tuesday for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. Until then, so long, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.